particularly love and appreciate the Hebrew Bible, which Christians often call the Old Testament. It's just filled with stories, and I think sometimes as Christians we give the Old Testament short shrift. There's so much in there that points us toward the coming of Christ and shows us the grace of God. The story, the character that we're going to be looking at in the weeks ahead is the prophet Elisha. We're going to be walking with Elisha. Now, Elisha follows Elijah. Elijah is the great prophet of the time. And God tells Elijah, knowing that it's about time for Elijah to pass from the scene, that he is to anoint Elisha. In fact, let's say that word together. That's the top word there, Elisha. Say that with me. Elisha. Let's do one more time. Elisha. All right, so Elijah is to anoint Elisha to be prophet in his place. And you might have been here. Last summer we did a message series on Elijah, and where we left the action, Elijah was handing on the work of passing the mantle to Elisha. He finds Elisha plowing. Elisha had obviously been in a fairly sizable agricultural operation because he's working with 12 yoke of oxen. And Elijah approaches Elisha and throws this mantle over the shoulders of Elisha. So Elijah had this mantle. It was probably like a cloak, maybe not different from this one, except it is not known whether or not Elijah was partial to Dr. Pepper. That's just what my mantle has on. So Elijah takes this mantle and he throws it around the shoulders of Elijah. And we don't see this anywhere else in the Bible, but apparently Elisha knew what this meant because he sacrificed those oxen and he left that vocation to follow Elijah. And it's my sense that in those intervening chapters of the narrative, Elisha was apprenticed to Elijah. Well, that scene happens in 1 Kings chapter 19. We're going to fast forward now to 2 Kings chapter 2. Hear now the word of God. Now when the Lord was about to take Elijah up to heaven by a whirlwind, Elijah and Elisha were on their way from Gilgal. Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, for the Lord has sent me as far as Bethel." But Elisha said, "As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. The company of prophets who were in Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, "Do you know that today the Lord will take your master away from you?" And Elisha said, "Yes, I know. Keep silent." Elijah said to him, "Elisha, stay here, for the Lord has sent me to Jericho." But Elisha said, "As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you." So they came to Jericho. The company of prophets who were at Jericho drew near to Elisha and said to him, "Do you know that today the Lord will take your master away from you?" And he answered, "Yes, I know. Be silent." Then Elijah said to him, "Stay here, for the Lord has sent me to the Jordan." But Elisha said, "As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you." So the two of them went on. 50 men of the company of prophets also went, and stood at some distance from them, as they both were standing by the Jordan. Then Elijah took his mantle and rolled it up and struck the water. The water was parted to the one side and to the other, until the two of them crossed on dry ground. When they had crossed, Elijah said to Elisha, "Tell me what I may do for you before I am taken from you." Elisha said, "Please, let me inherit a double share of your spirit." Elijah responded, "You have asked a hard thing. Yet if you see me as I am being taken from you, it will be granted you. If not, it will not." As they continued walking and talking, a chariot of fire and horses of fire separated the two of them, and Elijah ascended in a whirlwind into heaven. Elisha kept watching and crying out, "Father, Father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen." But when he could no longer see him, he grasped his own clothes and tore them in two pieces. He picked up the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him and went back and stood on the bank of the Jordan. He took the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him and struck the water, saying, "Where is the Lord, the God of Elijah?" When he had struck the water was parted to the one side and to the other, and Elisha went over. When the company of prophets who were at Jericho saw him at a distance, they declared, "Elijah rests on Elisha." They came to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. They said to him, "See now, we have 50 strong men among your servants. Please, let them go and seek your master. It may be that the Spirit of the Lord has caught him up and thrown him down on some mountain or into some valley." He responded, "No, do not send them." But when they urged him until he was ashamed, he said, "You must send them." So they sent 50 men who searched for 3 days but did not find him. When they came back to him, he had remained at Jericho. He said to them, "Did I not say to you, do not go?" The Lord add his blessing through the reading and the hearing of his word, and all God's people said, Amen. 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 Well, this is quite the story. I mean, you got special effects galore in this. You have this chariot of fire with the horses of fire. I mean, it's hard to imagine what that looked like. And then this whirlwind that takes Elijah up into the heavens. And there's this mantle that just appears through the story. It seemed like it got dropped when Elisha was on his way up, and Elijah rather was on his way up. And Elijah, he takes that mantle, and I can imagine maybe he folded it, and then he rolls it up, just like Elijah had done earlier. Remember when they were on their way to the Jordan, got to the Jordan, Elijah took his mantle and he struck the river. And that river parted. It's kind of like, and I imagine this evoked the image of Moses. You know, when Moses was leading the people of Israel out of Egypt, their back was up against the Red Sea. The Egyptians were pressing them hard, about to overtake them. They wanted to carry them back into slavery in Egypt. And Moses is instructed to take his staff, and the sea divides before him, the Red Sea, and the people cross through. That's very much reminiscent of this story is, where that Jordan River parts. Well, now, Elijah has been taken up. Elisha wears the mantle, and he does the same thing. He rolls it up. You got to get back to the other side, on the other side of the Jordan. He doesn't wait across. Boom. And there it goes. Authority has passed from Elisha to Elisha, who now wears the mantle. Last month, June, was annual conference. This is a meeting of United Methodists throughout the state of Florida. We gathered in Lakeland this year, and there's worship services are the best part of annual conference. The business, we take care of business, but it's the worship services that I think are marvelous. That and connecting with old friends. The mantle plays a part in one of those worship services. Among the worship services are a retirement service and a ordination service. And at the retirement service, they will take a stole, which pastors wear, and reminiscent of the mantle, the bishop will take the stole from a retiring minister and place it over the shoulders of a person to be ordained at the later ordination service. And this is a symbolic passing of authority from one group of ministers to another. And as I think about this, I think it's also symbolic of what needs to happen in the church. You know, we are passing along the mantle of faith to the next generation, the generations who are with us now and those who will follow us in the future. It's been said that Christianity is only one generation away from extinction. You know, if we ever fail to pass along the faith, well, there's the risk that the faith will be no more. I'm going to take a poll. And if this first one is not you, don't be embarrassed. I mean, some of us are not to the point of faith in Christ yet. That's okay. You know, you're on a journey leading to faith. But if you consider yourself a follower of Jesus, I'm just going to invite you to lift your hand. All right, now, put your hands down. If you expect that one day you will pass from the scene here, lift your hand. Now, this one I would hope to see everyone's hands up, because you know the statistic, right? 1 out of 1 dies. Okay, we're all going to be leaving the scene. Here's a fact. The day after you die, 384,000 people will be born. 384,000 on the day after you die. My question is, who will share the good news of Jesus with those 384,000 people? Who will bear the love of God, bear witness to the love of God to those 300? Well, it won't be you, right? You just died the day before. It's going to have to be people that you discipled, that you brought along in the faith. Those are the ones that will be entrusted with reaching the new generation that's beginning to be born the day after you die. Our mission statement in the United Methodist Church and in this congregation is making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. I take this very seriously, and no more seriously than in my own family. I'm a dad, and I love being a dad. I feel like it's a privilege. I think job one for me as a parent is that mission statement. More than anything else, I want my kids to be fully devoted followers of Jesus Christ. It's a good definition of a disciple. A fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ, a world transformer. Not that they have to be famous or known by a lot of people, but in their circles, that they would come to be people who make this world, that God uses to make this world into the place that God has had in mind for this world to be from the beginning. Now, the cool thing about this is you all play a role in this, in my children's lives, to which I say thank you, First United Methodist Church. Because my kids, they either have gone or they will this summer go on a distance mission. The middle schoolers of our church, they went up to DeLand earlier in the summer in support of the United Methodist Children's Home. And the senior highs this year are going to Costa Rica in just a couple of weeks. And you know, my kids are part of those trips, depending on their age. And what's more, I'm very proud of this, they all volunteered at Vacation Bible School last week. You all made that opportunity for them. And, you know, there's adult leaders who worked with them to help them lead our children at Vacation Bible School. And so thank you. Thank you, church. And I remember my own growing up in the church, and I'm one of the lucky ones who got to grow up in the local church. And I think of the people, I mean, my parents, they did what they needed to do, but the church was there. You know, there were people there who nurtured me in the faith. Just like there are people here doing that for my kids. So you can, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And I also recognize that we have a role in the lives of, all of us have a role in the lives of our children here and our youth here. And the truth is, we all have a role in whosever life we can influence. We have the power to do good. We have the power to draw people to Christ by what we say, by what we do, by who Christ is making us. You know, just like you're on the disciple path because of someone else, it's good to think back, well, who was it that brought me as far as I've come? And to give God thanks for those people. Well, this is a good day for you to pick up the mantle. And you know, some of you might be thinking, well, I object because I'm not all that far along as a disciple. But you know, here's the thing about being a disciple, being a person who makes disciples. It is, and I wonder if you know these letters, OTJ training. OTJ stands for on-the-job training. Yeah, you know, as you're becoming a disciple, it just goes with it. If you become a disciple, we're making disciples. This is the way it's supposed to work. I think from the very beginning, you know, Jesus had these disciples, 12 of whom he called to be the inner circle, and spent 3 years with them. How many of you think they had it all down after 3 years? Yeah, I think this is why the Holy Spirit needed to come, right? The Holy Spirit came so to continue to teach them. So we're all works in progress, but it really is our work that we're called to. You know, when we pass from the scene, will there be people who proclaim the word of the Lord? Will there be people who bear witness to the love of God? This is a serious question, especially it's always a serious question, but especially in a church in decline, which the church in North America is. Atlanta, 1966 summer. Who remembers what big event happened in Atlanta? It's the Summer Olympics. Say Summer Olympics. Yes, you're right. You remembered well. 1996, maybe some of you had a chance to go. It's a big deal to host the Summer Olympics. You know, whatever country is hosting, they have this, the flame is always brought from Athens, Greece, not Georgia. The flame is brought from Athens, so it had to make its way to Atlanta. And they had, in the United States, there were over 12,000 people who did a relay of that flame. You know, every one of them had a torch, and you would pass the flame from person to person until it made it to Atlanta. It took 84 days. I know one of the guys, one of the people who carried that flame. He is a member of the church I was serving in 1996. His name is Charlie Guyton. And Charlie got the flame, and he carried the flame where he lit the torch to the next person. Now, if Charlie had not shown up that day, they would have had to cancel the Summer Olympics. Okay, that's not somebody else would have stepped in, right? And or the one person would have carried it twice as far. But you know, we're entrusted with this holy flame. And the truth of the matter is, if we aren't faithful, God will raise up people who are. But what a shame for us to miss the opportunity to be part of this great cloud of witnesses, this great handing off from person to person in the race to the coming of God's kingdom in fullness. Will someone else go and make disciples? Of course they will. But the question is, will you and I take up the mantle? Will you and I pass it on? You know, programs have their place in the church, but disciple making is much more like apprenticeship.